Hello, I'm Lisa Van Riper, President of South Carolina Citizens for Life. Thank you for joining us in this Jubilee celebration of 50 years of life-saving work. It is my privilege to narrate this short history while also presenting a vision for the future of a post-Roe South Carolina. The date was 1974. 1 year after the lethal Roe v. Wade Supreme Court decision had overturned every state law protecting unborn children from abortion on demand. South Carolina had not escaped the scourge of this act of judicial activism. Our long-standing law that had recognized and protected the life of its unborn children was no more, and the lives of our unborn children were left vulnerable to destruction for all 9 months of pregnancy. It was in that year, 50 years ago, that a small but determined group of men and women formed South Carolina Citizens for Life. There was no office, there was no staff, but there was a passion for life and a determination for justice. Under the guidance of the National Right to Life Committee, South Carolina Citizens for Life was incorporated. Every day since its incorporation, SCCL has pursued its singular mission to restore legal protection to our brothers and sisters waiting to be born, and to guard the lives of other devalued members of our human family, including the elderly, the chronically ill, and persons with disabilities. South Carolina Citizens for Life began small, but because of the generosity of individuals and churches with their gifts of time, talent, and treasure, we grew. In 1985, we hired our first staff member, Executive Director and lobbyist Brenda Hucks-Cherkas. Under Brenda's leadership, South Carolina Citizens for Life championed the first pro-life bill since Roe v. Wade. The Parental Consent Act, which was passed by the General Assembly in 1990 over vehement opposition by the abortion industry, provided that no abortion could be performed on a girl under the age of 17 without her parents' knowledge and consent. Abortions declined by 16% the next year. In late 1993, our second executive director, Holly Gatlin, joined our staff. As we celebrate our 50th Jubilee anniversary, Holly is celebrating her 30th year with SCCL. And under her leadership and with your continued faithful support, SCCL has successfully supported 15 additional pro-life bills, including banning doctor-prescribed suicide in 1998. These laws, in conjunction with pregnancy support services, adoption, counseling, and moral, legal, medical education, have resulted in saving literally hundreds of thousands of lives. Because of the faithful support of volunteers, donors, public officials, clergy, and voters, SCCL has worked through the peaceful and legal means of education and legislation. For example, in education, South Carolina Citizens for Life has hosted the State Fair. We have also hosted the annual Proudly Pro-Life Rally. And since 2012, with the addition of the annual dinner, we host a major educational Proudly Pro-Life weekend. We also host education training for church and community groups. We have local chapters strategically located throughout our state. In addition to education, we also advocate. We advocate to guard the rights of pregnancy resource centers and sidewalk counselors from infringement of their First Amendment rights. We work to guard the rights of the medically fragile, and we work to shepherd pro-life laws to restore legal protection to the unborn and protect their moms while testing the legal limits of Roe v. Wade. Yes, we did test the legal limits of Roe, and we won. For example, South Carolina's clinic regulation bill was sustained by the United States Supreme Court and opened the door for other states to pass similar legislation. And while it was not a South Carolina bill that the U.S. Supreme Court used to overturn Roe v. Wade in the summer of 2022, our South Carolina heartbeat bill was on appeal at the time of Roe's demise. As soon as Roe was overturned, our General Assembly began work to return protection to the unborn child. And on May 25, 2023, Governor Henry McMaster signed into law the South Carolina Heartbeat Bill. And on August 23, 2023, the South Carolina Supreme Court upheld this historic law, which one, recognizes that life begins at conception, and two, that the state has a right to protect this life, and three, that except in the rarest of circumstances, abortion cannot occur once a heartbeat is detected. Preliminary information indicates that abortions occurring in South Carolina have declined by almost 50% since the peak of abortions in 1988. We expect our fetal heartbeat law now to save many more babies' lives. Yes, South Carolina Citizens for Life is having a birthday, but it's never been about us. It's been about reestablishing the legal right for the unborn and the medically fragile so they can celebrate birthdays. It's been about protecting women from the emotional and physical trauma of abortion. It's been about enabling society to reject death as a way to solve its social and economic problems. Because of your faithful support, hundreds of thousands of SC babies have celebrated and are celebrating birthdays. Because of you, the U.S. Supreme Court now has said that the U.S. Constitution no longer guarantees the destruction of life as a fundamental right. Because of you, women are receiving life-affirming choices for them and their unborn children. We are proud to honor those who have worked for almost 50 years to restore our culture of life. Now free of the judicial tyranny, we continue onward. Truly, 2024 can be a year of jubilee, a time of restoration of life, freedom from death, and healing for the wounded. Will you join SCCL for the next 50 years? Thank you.